failure is not an option. This is my 15-gallon dirted Fluval Flex aquarium that uses no ferts. And as you can see, it's infested with algae. This looks absolutely appalling, and I want to fix that. Welcome to a monthly series I like to call Flexin. So how did this all happen? Well, it all started on November 8th, 2021, my birthday. Nice acting, mate. And with my birthday, I got this brand new aquarium. So we have this little table thing sitting around in the basement, and I thought the tank would be enough to rest on the wood instead of the glass. Nope, it does not. So what now? Well, I got a piece of stained plywood and just plopped it right on top of the table. Now this should prevent most of the weight from the tank from being on just the glass. And now, it's time to set up this bad boy. Here we have a box, and here we have a useless manual. And finally, we have the filter media. Upon opening that box, we obtained the LED controller, the filter pump, and a 12-volt power supply. Now, all of these are pretty useful, unlike the filter media. Yeah, that's right, the filter media sucks. All you get is a massive sponge and 2 small bags of activated carbon and biomedia. That is not enough biomedia. And so I completely abandoned the provided filter media, grabbed the bottle of Seachem Matrix, and some leftover Ehrling Substrate Pro, and stuffed it all into a filter bag. I want as much biological filter media in the filter so it can help with the nitrogen cycle. Seriously, here's an up-close shot of the forbidden Maltesers. Just look how porous they are. Now, I almost made a mistake and put too much media into the bag, as it won't fit into the slot, but I got it to work anyway. Also, I forgot about the piece of tape. And the activated carbon goes in as well to remove any chemicals in the water that came from the dirt. Now it's time to set up the rest of the filter. The first chamber will be a combo of sponges and chemical media. Now there's a piece of plastic that sticks out in this chamber, so to get around that, I just cut a little slit in the sponge. Since this would be a dirted tank, I will need a bit more sponge on the bottom intake to prevent any soil from leaching into the filter. For the intake, I cut up some sponge to act as a pre-filter. Now, every light system needs to be on a timer, otherwise you may run into algae troubles. So for this tank, I'm setting a 7-hour lighting period. Now let there be light! For the substrate, I use a bottom layer of Aragonite, also known as calcium carbonate. Why? Because I want to raise the pH levels as I'll be adding guppies to this tank, and they do prefer higher pH levels. Now this may have been my first mistake. What I should have done is put the Aragonite in a filter bag and stuck that into the filter for easy removal if needed. Instead it's just stuck there. Oh well. Next up is some Eco-Complete. I wanted to add quite a lot to this so I could push some of it towards the back of the tank to create more of that depth or 3D-ness to a tank. But at this point you're probably wondering, where is the dirt that was promised? Well, let's go get it. We now have some dirt, so now we have to go sift it. Now it's time to add the dirt. Oh no. I did something wrong. I shouldn't have added the dirt. I just realized that I didn't add as much Eco-Complete as I wanted. So now what? Take the dirt out? But how will I do so without removing any of the Eco-Complete? Ah! All I really need to do is just push it forwards. The back is the only section that needed more Eco-Complete. And since that's done, it's time to add the rest of the soil. Now we need to add about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of soil. Now, we can't just leave it like this and pour water in, as the dirt will just get everywhere and cause a mess. So to fix this issue, I used about another 1 inch or 1.5 inches of Eco-Complete and capped the dirt. However, you can actually see the Aragonite layer at the bottom of the glass. This doesn't look too appealing. So to solve that, you can push the sand scraper against the glass, so the substrate just looks like a single layer. Now that we got that done, it's time for the exciting part. The plants. I got these plants from Aquatic Botanic Canada, aka ABC Plants. They're a Canadian company that produces tissue culture plants amongst other items such as CO2. And these guys are awesome, so go check them out. Also, here's a referral link to get a $10 welcome credit. Not sponsored, by the way. Now let's get right into the plant list. Starting off with the background category, we have Hygrophila deformis, Hygrophila corymbosa, Angustifolia, Rotala wallichi, Lysomachia numularia. Now this didn't arrive in the greatest condition, which is a possibility when shipping plants. Ludwigia palustris, Hygrophila polysperma rosanorvig, Mariophyllum mutagrossen. For the mid-ground category, we have Lobelia cardinalis, Proserpinaca palustris. This also didn't come in the greatest condition, so I replaced it with Didiplis diandra, Rotala indica bonsai, Starogine repens, and Cryptocorani flamingo. For the foreground category, we have Eleocharis acicularis mini, Calamontan fern. Now this is a rare fern that didn't come in the greatest condition, but it can be saved. Now it's time to organize where the plants go. Ah, there we go. But wait, where's the hardscape, you may ask? Well, there is none. This kind of aquascape is called a Dutch aquascape, or the Dutch style. Usually, the Dutch style contains little to no hardscape and uses the beauty of plants as its main highlight. But why use such method? Well, with dirted or Wallstatt style tanks, or any tanks in general, you want to plant as heavy as possible, right from the very beginning. This helps with the nitrogen cycle tremendously. Either way, let's start planting. Now that we got all the plants planted, I can finally start flooding the tank. The great thing about this tank is that you can easily flood it by pouring water into one of the filter chambers in the back. Gone are the days of making a mess in your substrate when pouring water. And there we have it. The tank is completely filled and a day's job is done. Now, this is just the end of day 0. The catastrophic buildup has yet to begin. 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 Begin.